Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well. I'm here today to go over the day 5 math task. We have a math task and then we have some worksheets and a little bit of fluency practice at the end. So we will just go ahead and get started. Here on our day 5 math task, our task is looking at numbers every which way. So we're going to be looking at numbers in different ways. And remember, we have standard form, expanded form, and word form. So we're going to be using those methods to show numbers in different ways. And if you look at A, we have 127 is a number. We need to write it as a sum of hundreds, tens, and ones. And as long as you remember that, you're just basically breaking that number apart and giving the value of the digit in each place value, then you will be able to figure out that the sum of the hundreds, tens, and ones. So if you look at the hundred spot, there's a 1. That tells us that the 1 spot is the value is 100. And then if you're going in order of place value, next you would go to the 10 spot. There we have a 2. The value there is 20. And then finally, you go to the 1 spot, there's a 7, that value is 7. So you're basically writing it out as 100 plus 20 plus 7. And that is the same as 127. The second bullet point here, it wants you to write its name in words. So you're using word form. So you're honestly just writing it out using words. So 127. The third bullet point would like you to draw a picture to represent the number. I have found that the easiest way to do this is using your base 10 blocks, understanding that the big square represents 100, the rectangles here represent a 10, and that the blue small squares here each represent 1. So if we're breaking apart 127 and drawing a picture to represent it, we need 100, we need 2 10 bars, and we need 7 ones. Okay, and then the last bullet point, we need to locate it on a number line. And on your number line, you just need to label it with numbers where you are able to establish 127. So you'll start your number line with 0, and then your number line will end with, as long as it is anything above 127. So here we're going to locate it. We're going to find 120, and then here is 200. So we know 127 is just slightly after 120. So you're just going to plot it right there. And that is, we have shown numbers in every which way. That was A. We're going to move on to B now. Okay, and B is telling us 500 plus 60 plus 8 is a number. It is indeed a number. The first bullet point wants us to write it as a 3-digit number, which is standard form. So we're taking 500 plus 60 plus 8, writing it in standard form, which is 568. The second bullet point wants us again to write it in word form. So we'd write it out, spell it out, 568. The third bullet point again wants us to draw a picture to represent the number. Again, we're just going to use those base 10 blocks, breaking apart that number, finding the value of each digit. If you look at the 5, and you look at the 100 spot rather, sorry, there's a 5, so we know we need 5 hundreds. Then you're going to go back and look at that 10 spot, and it is a 6, so we know we need 6 10 bars. And then finally looking at that last column, which is the ones column, and we have 8, so we are going to need 8 ones, and that is how you draw a picture to represent a number. Okay, and then the last bullet point, we need to locate it on a number line. Again, it's 568, which we know is more than halfway past 500. So if you come to the halfway point, this is about the halfway point between 5 and 600. And we know 568 is slightly past that halfway point. So we are going to plot our point right there. Okay, and now we are going to move on to the last part. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is a 4-part math task. So this is part C. Our task is looking at numbers again every which way. So again, we're just going to show these numbers in multiple ways. And this C particularly gives us the number in word form. 609 is a number. So we need to write it as a 3-digit number. So just writing it as a 3-digit number, that is standard form. So we're writing it out, 609. Now we need to write its name in words. Again, it kind of gave us that up here. So if you just copy that down, 609, we'll represent it in word form. Oops. And then drawing it a picture to represent the number. Okay. If you look at this number and you look at the pictures down here, there are not any 10 bars because if you look at the 10 spot here, that is a 0. But again, we start with the hundreds. There are 600s, so we need to draw 600s as a picture to represent that. There are 0 10s, so you notice there are no 10 bars. And then there are 9 ones, making sure we have 9 individual blocks to represent that. Okay, now we're going to locate it on a number line. And again, 609 is closer to 600. It's only slightly past 600. So we need to locate that 600 on the number line and then plot that point just after the 600 a little bit. And moving on to the last part of the math task, D. The pictures represent a number. The big square represents 100, so those represent 100. The rectangles represent 10, there's our 10 bars, and the small square represents 1. There are no small squares, so that is going to tell us that whatever number we are going to be building will not have any ones. It says write it as a 3-digit number. So if we go up here and count using our pictures, counting how many hundreds and how many tens, we'll be able to determine what our number is. So we have 1, 200s. We know a 2 is going to go in the 100 spot. And we have 4 tens, 1, 2, 3, 4. We know a 4 is going to go in that 10 spot. And again, there are 0 ones, so we know a 0 goes in that 1 spot. So our number is 240. Now we need to write its name in words. So we're just using words to write the name, 240. And write it as a sum of hundreds, tens, and ones. This is where we're breaking it apart, and what we're doing is we're determining the value of each place value in that number. So again, an easy way to do this is just look at the pictures. Go up, how many hundreds do we have? We have 2, its value is 200, plus we have 4 tens. Each 10 bar represents 10, so if we count by tens, we have 10, 20, 30, 40. So 200 plus 40. And again, there are 0 ones. So 200 plus 40 plus 0 represents 240 as a number. And lastly, in this math task, we need to locate it on a number line. We know that 240 is almost halfway between 200 and 300. So when we locate it on the number line, it's going to be not quite halfway between 2 and 300, and you're going to plot your point. That right there is going to represent 240 on that number line. Now we are going to move on to our math worksheet for the day, where you can write numbers with words, cut and glue words to match the numbers. I know it's asking you to cut and glue the numbers. If you don't want to, you can draw a line or you can just write it out. Today, I'm just going to write it out. It says you can write numbers with words, cut and glue words to match the numbers. So we're basically taking each number in standard form and we're writing it out. So I will start with number 1, 496. So we're going to write 496. I'm just going in order of place value. I'm reading the number and writing it out just like it sounds in word form. I will do number 2. Number 2 is 937. So we have 937. And then I will do one more with you. I do want you to try the last 3 on your own. So number 3 is 1000. I know we had only touched briefly on the thousands place for place value. So 1,000 is going to look like 1,000. And again, there is nothing in the hundreds column, there's nothing in the tens column, and there's nothing in the ones. So 1,000 is going to look just like that. Again, try those last three on your own. If you have any questions, you can leave me a comment and I will help you figure those out. And then we're going to move on to the last part of our math today, which is the fluency practice. And again, it's where we're showing multiple ways to solve a problem. Here, the problem is giving us a number line, and it has plotted a point. And so I'm assuming that we have to determine what the number is and then showing the number in multiple ways. Let's read the instructions. It's asking us to write the point on the number line as a 3-digit number. Okay, writing it as a 3-digit number is going to be in standard form. So right here, go to the closest point, which is 740, and then we're just going to count over by ones. So 740, 741, 742, 743, 744. So we know our number in standard form is 744. Now we need to write its name in words. Again, just using word form, writing it out just like it sounds, 744. Now we need to draw a picture to represent the number using our base 10 blocks. Here, there is a 7 in the hundreds column, so we have 7 hundreds blocks. There is a 4 in the tens column, so we have 4 10 bars. And then there is a 4 in the ones column, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ones. So we know this picture represents 744. The last thing we need to do is write the point on the number line as a sum of hundreds, tens, and ones. So this is where we're breaking it apart in expanded form. So we want to know what is the value of the 7 in the hundred spot. And 7 hundreds is indeed 700. And then we need to determine how many, there's a 4 in the 10 spot. What is the value of 4 tens? Well, 10, 20, 30, 40. So we know the value of the tens is 40. And then lastly, what is the value of the 1 spot? And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ones. So we have written that in expanded form. I hope these videos are helpful. If at any time you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me either through class tag or leaving a comment in the section below. I hope you all are doing well, and we will talk soon. Goodbye.